Hello and welcome to another live chat. I'm Hannah Hardiman, I'm from eBay, and today I'm joined by a couple of very experienced eBay sellers who are going to talk to us about their business, and we're also going to talk about the eBay for Business Awards and what that's meant to you as well. Now, it is a Q&A, so there is the facility for you to ask your questions. So these are questions for Tom and Josh. It's not necessarily for questions about eBay generally. If you want to direct them to me, that's fine, but we'll have to deal with them another time. So I can see there are some people who've already joined us. So Shazant first in, thanks for joining us again. We've got Andy, we've got M. Spencer, this must be Mysterious Spencer from last time. Chris B, Sewing Machine Man, welcome. Let us know that you're there, that's great. So I think let's get started. We've got about half an hour that we're going to be chatting for. If you've got a sandwich, if you're having your lunch, please type with one hand and use the other one to eat. So any more hellos to say? No, that's it for now. Right, so I am joined by Josh and Tom. Could you just tell us a little bit about who you are and what you're doing here?
Yeah, so I'm Josh Grant, and I'm one of the owners of Schott Packaging. We are primarily an eBay store, but we sell packaging materials online.
Yeah, and I'm Tom Schott, and I'm the other director of the company.
Fantastic. Well, no prizes for guessing where the name of the company came from. Okay. So you told us you sell packaging. Let's hear a little bit more about that. What kind of packaging is it?
So it's everything from cardboard boxes, bubble wrap, through to mailing bags and everything in between, I suppose, really, yeah.
So I would imagine you've got quite a few eBay sellers who are buying from you as well.
We have a few, yeah.
And what got you started in that?
Well, I got burnt out in my last career, and I chose to go and work for my dad for a little bit. He's got a removals company. What I was going to do while I was there was just change up my daily routine a little bit. My intention was to go back into the career. I just wanted a break from it. And he had thousands of cardboard boxes that he just accumulated over the years. And they were just getting in the way, really. So I thought, well, I'll start selling them just to clear a bit of space. Thought there's nowhere really better to do that than eBay. So I just put a few listings on, a 10-pack, a 15 and a 20. And we went from there, really. It was sort of 1 or 2 sales a week. Then it was 1 or 2 a day. And it was 10 or 15 a day. And then it got to the point that that's all I was doing every day was just making orders. So I opted just to quit, really. I just said, look, I'm going to quit and start my own thing. And we went from there. We took on a warehouse and
fantastic.
It went like that, really.
And I think it's only when you go to move that you realise just how many boxes you actually need.
Yeah.
So I can imagine how they were all starting to build up.
Yeah.
All in good condition, I hope. Yeah. Okay, so I've got some questions here I'm going to get to before I go to the ones that are being posted in. Oh, and we have a hello from Fiona as well.
Hi, Fiona.
Hello.
And the Sewing Machine Man says, well, I'm looking for strong boxes for sewing machines.
Oh,
so I think we'll make sure that the link to the shop is in the description so you can go in there and have a look at those. Excellent. So what was it that made you think, like, eBay is the place that I want to go sell these?
Well, the boxes weren't brand new. They'd been used before, but they were in great condition. And I couldn't really think of anywhere better to sell. I've sold on eBay before, a few of my personal things and stuff like that.
Okay.
And I just thought, we'll just put a few on, and if they sell, they sell, and if they don't, we'll move on to something else. But they started selling, and it just snowballed from there, really. So. Great.
And so are your customers tending to be more private individuals who are moving house, that kind of thing, or is it kind of gone from there?
We have a great mix across the board. Yeah. We have people who are moving house and people who are doing sort of small hobby or even small eBay businesses, and then we go all the way up to big businesses, that are doing thousands of orders a day. They also buy from us, so we get everyone in between as well. Yeah, it's quite nice. Yeah, we get a nice range. We get the nice people, who just want 1 or 2 boxes for something that they've sold themselves on eBay, up to people who need thousands in, weekly. So,
and what's your biggest box?
I think that's that one.
So it's like a 20-inch cubed. I suppose it's not as big as they do go. But we used to sell some bigger ones than that, didn't we? And they're a nightmare to post. They're so large and bulky. So they were a bit of a headache. So we kind of capped it, didn't we?
So I guess you've got to have a box that's big enough for all your boxes, as well. Okay, I'm starting to get a bit of an insight into the business. So I think we'll come back and talk a little bit more about the business as we get more questions coming in. But talk to me about the eBay for Business Awards.
So the eBay for Business Awards, I think for us was it was kind of one of those things where we'd seen it around, we'd seen it online, it popped up a few times, and we'd kind of read some of the other seller stories, hadn't we, from the year previous. And I think at first it was a bit like one of those things where you go, oh, we'll never win that, you know.
Like entering another competition,
exactly.
You see all the car and the holiday.
Exactly.
And
and we were kind of like, oh, you know, that looks interesting, but we kind of, you know, put it to one side. And I think the more stories we read from other sellers and the more that we started to realize that, you know, you didn't necessarily have to be doing 10, 15, 20 million a year turnover. You didn't necessarily have to sort of have certain prerequisites to a degree. We thought, well, actually, you know, we've got a bit of a story, and, you know, maybe it might be nothing, or, you know, it might actually be something. And so we thought, you know what, let's give it a go. Let's stick an application in. What's the worst that can happen? You know, the worst.
The application doesn't arrive, maybe.
Yeah, that, you know, or we just thought the worst that'll happen is they'll say, no, you're not quite the right fit, or you're unsuccessful this time. You know, we thought we'll give it a go, nothing to lose. And that was kind of how we happened upon the entry, really.
Right. Okay. And I think that theme of like kind of what's special about my business, that's something I hear so much. People saying, but my business is really boring, or I don't have this fantastic story. I've just been plodding along, building it up over the years, and they think there's no story in there. So now you were an award winner.
Yes.
What do you think made the difference that got your business picked over anybody else's? What do you think was special?
I mean, for me, I think it's one of those things where when you happen upon something and then it kind of accidentally becomes something.
Yeah. I think there's few people that know all about that.
Yeah. I mean, I think that in itself is quite cool. You know, that something becomes from nothing. And I think everything in between, because you've kind of got to have a lot of belief in the idea. You know, to get from, like you said, like Tom was saying earlier, that point where we were doing 1 or 2 sales a day and we were almost waiting for the cha-ching, you know, on the app, to where we are now. You know, it's not an easy journey, and I think sort of, you know, I think knowing that you can go from that to that is quite a big thing, and you can kind of see it on the horizon, and it kind of gives you that drive to push for it, I suppose.
Now, question, do you still have the ka-ching turned on?
No.
It got turned off a year ago.
Yeah, like I say, it used to be one of those things that it was like every time it went off, it was like, oh, a sale. And you know, when you start doing volume, it gets increasingly annoying.
Waking you up at 3 a.m. to 4 or 5 ka-chings. Okay, I'll turn that off now. Yeah.
Work-life balance. You need to turn your phone off at some point, but I know what it's like. Yeah. Okay, so so tell me a bit more about what it was like being an award winner. What was your experience like?
I mean, for us, I think one of the things that we kind of said in the aftermath of it was that actually it was almost like a bit of a pat on the back, because, you know, we'd always had a close-knit team. You know, and it's not like you say, when it's not like a traditional employment where you've got a manager or somebody above you who's telling you if you're doing a good job or not. You know, it's kind of, it was just ourselves in the office, and we think we're doing okay, and we think we're doing it as we should be doing it, you know. And I think entering the awards and then actually winning the award for growth, for us was kind of that's a pat on the back. It's, you are doing something right. You're going in the right direction.
Seal of approval.
You know, and you had a few other pairs of eyes look at the story, read the story, understand the business, and kind of, like you say, give it that seal of approval and say, you know, good effort. And I think it kind of motivated us there on, didn't it, to kind of, not to keep going as such, because obviously we're always going to keep going, but just to sort of know that we were going in the right direction.
When we were talking to Jade last week, she was saying it was kind of nice being able to put the application together and think about how far she'd come. Did you have that kind of experience too?
Yeah, we did. Yeah, because we took a few photos and things for the advert, the application, sorry. And it was nice thinking back to where we started with just like one small bench and a couple of pallets of boxes to where we are now. It was nice looking back at the photos and being like, wow, actually, we've come quite a long way in a few years. Which didn't really, you don't realize in the moment. You just realize, you know, when you sit back and reflect on it. So
Yeah. I mean, it's really nice that you did that you actually thought to take the photos at that time.
Yeah.
It's kind of like the before and after and then beyond. You've got something to compare it to. You can sort of scrapbook about your journey.
Yeah, I think for me it was watching the video that eBay did for us. Was almost like a movie trailer, wasn't it?
Yeah.
And that was kind of
nice.
watching that and being like, wow, that's where we work every day. That's what we've built. Was kind of like we'd never seen it in such a polished, so that was really nice as well.
Yeah. So were you thinking, when you do some decorating and then you think you've done a good job and someone goes, oh, you missed a bit. Were you ever sort of looking at it going, oh, I should have tidied that corner up or anything like that? Well, is it all well hidden?
Well, we have an office that we use as like the junk office for everything. And we actually walked through that in the video, but he managed to hide it all from the camera view. So.
The power of video.
Don't need to go in there.
No, don't need to go in that
good editors.
Yeah.
But I'm sure your business is very, very tidy and very well organised because you wouldn't have got to this point if it wasn't. Okay, so why do you think people should take part if they haven't entered already? And we have had a lot of entries already.
I mean, for me, I think, like you say, for us, it was a a big pat on the back, a big a sign of reassurance that actually you are doing something right, you are heading in the right direction, and so I think it's one of those things where no matter what size you are, no matter how sort of insignificant or ordinary you feel like the story is, I feel like it's one of those things where it's just nice for other people to learn about stories and to hear how
that's very true.
To hear how you got from there to there, and I think it kind of, the more people that take part and the more stories that are heard, the more people then read them and might think, well, I'll give that a crack next year. And I think it just instills this confidence in people generally to kind of, I'll give that a go. And I think that's something that we champion, So.
And I think even outside of, I could be an award winner, there's also an element of, I could have my own business.
Yeah.
Like, I don't need to be in a job that I'm just not feeling it's working for me anymore.
Yeah.
And so when you were thinking about going out on your own and doing something else, what was going through your mind?
I don't know really. I was just so busy making orders every day that I could see there was a path to something that was a bit more freedom than my current 9-to-5 was giving me. So we just went for it. I just said, look, I'm going to quit, start my own place, get some new stock in, and I'm just going to make a run of this and see what comes of it. Maybe nothing will, and I'll fall back on my career if need be. But I could see there was something there. There was a start of something, and I thought, I'm just going to give it a go. And what's the worst that can happen, really?
So do you think your previous career has helped you with eBay being an online marketplace?
Yeah, I mean, I used to be a web developer, so it has helped a lot in that, I know codes, so when we did the listing descriptions and things like that, we could do a little bit of something there. And some of the images as well, used to do a lot of Photoshop editing and things like that.
Okay.
So it did help a little bit, but I wouldn't say by any means that it was, the thing that was needed to start it at all. In fact, the first photos we took, I think those listings are still live now, actually. They're literally the photo of the boxes in the warehouse still, and we didn't crop out any backgrounds. It's just a pile of boxes on the floor, basically. And we still have those listings live now, and we still use them because we still sell those same boxes from day one.
Okay.
But I don't think, like I said, I don't think it helped. It was just a nice addition, that eased things maybe, but don't think it's anything that you specifically need to start with it.
Yeah. Okay. So for people who are thinking, like if anybody was watching this is thinking about starting a business on eBay, you don't need to be a techie to do it.
No, not by any means, no. You can just take your photos on your phone and just go from there, and it's off to the races. Fantastic.
Right. Well, I can see, wow, there's been quite a few questions coming in. We've got a question from Mysterious Spencer. Were there any challenges when moving into the warehouse, business rates, etc.? Would you have liked to move into a warehouse sooner, looking back retrospectively?
Yeah, learning about rates and everything like that was a step, because it's not something we've ever done before. But you speak to people who've done that before. Luckily, my dad's got his own warehouse and things like that, so we knew roughly where things were. We spoke to a few other people, got some advice. We probably would have done it a little bit sooner, and we probably, looking back in hindsight, probably would have got a bigger warehouse than we did now. We filled it so quickly that now we're scrabbling to optimize the space that we've got. Because I think it just snowballs. When you grow into a space a lot bigger than you think you will. And that's something we definitely did, that we didn't expect to. Or we thought, we have 10,000 square foot now, and we thought that would last us 2 or 3 or 4 years.
Yeah,
it barely lasted us 6 months.
Wow.
We filled it, and then we had to scrabble to get racking in and things like that, and containers in to try and hold more stock, because we were just struggling for space in there. And we've done a lot in there now, and you know, the guys in the warehouse now are a lot happier. They've got a lot more space to work and things, but for a while it was a bit cramped. So,
I think it's nice to sort of feel as though you might have sort of time to plan the next move, which I feel like we've never had since we started, you know, because it's always been, like you say, it's a good problem to have, which is a phrase we often use, because you know, it's that organic growth that we've had non-stop for the last 3 years, which is really, really great. But like you said, that has probably been one of the most challenging parts of it, because like you say, with more growth comes more space requirements, more staff, you know, more costs, you know, so it's been a bit of a challenge.
And how have you managed that transition from kind of being really hands-on, because I guess with more staff you've got to start letting some of that go and let other people do that work for you?
I mean, it's been okay. For a long time I like to do all of it, and I like to do every part of the business, but there does come a point where you've got to step back, and you've got to rather than work in the business, you've got to grow the business instead. So that's what we both mainly do now, is we do a lot more of actually progressing the business forward rather than just working in it. I mean, I think that's because like you say, I think, you know, it's actually valuable to and I'm glad that we've had the experience of kind of doing a bit of everything. You know, when we first started, and you know, answering the phones and doing the inbound and outbound sales and being the customer service and cleaning up at the end of the day, and you know, so that then whenever staff come in, we know exactly what they're going through. We've been there, we've done it, you know. It might be on a larger scale, but we've had experience in all of those roles. And then, like you say, now it's just sort of about trying to apply ourselves, you know, in a better way, I suppose, and kind of optimizing, you know, where we can put our time and make the most of the team as a unit, I suppose.
And you must have both learned a lot along the way. Was there anything that you wish someone had pulled you aside right at the start and said, right, I'm going to give you some advice here?
That's an interesting one, actually.
I don't know, really. We've learned everything along the way. I mean, with the warehouse and things like that, we bought a little bit of racking and put it up to one side and thought that would be enough. We've changed the layout in the warehouse now about 4 times, which means pulling every pallet out, changing all the racking around, putting it all back in. It takes days at a time to do, but after a few months of it how it is, you start to realize actually we could produce more orders in the day if we had it set like this. You know, things would be a lot faster to do if we did it this. It would be cleaner if we did it this way. So there's not something that we know how to do. We've always just learned on the job pretty much. So we've changed the layout in there a few times, really, and it's just little things like that we just learn over time, and we just, you know, tweak as and when we need to, really.
I think it's good for us as well, because I mean, we've been very close friends for a number of years, and I think in our nature, I'm quite hesitant by nature, and a bit of a skeptic. I get it from my mum, and you kind of like to just, well, we'll do that, and we'll, if it goes wrong, we'll worry about it later type thing. And I think between us we kind of get a really good happy medium. So it's nice to sort of bounce ideas off of each other and kind of make those decisions, and so it's pretty good.
Right, so I'm gonna, oh gosh, I'm missing some of these here. Right, Shazad is saying, do you do pip boxes? I normally order 10,000 C5 every couple of months.
We do indeed.
Good.
Check us out.
You can get your order in. Oh, we've got some more hellos from Dov, from the trade counter. Sewing machine man saying, that heartwarming sound, ka-ching. We've got Tap Peddler saying hi. Philip saying hi, guys. Lots of people just saying hi.
Thanks for tuning in.
Hello here. Fiona's put a couple of questions to you. What was your scariest moment, and how did you deal with it? I'm hoping it's not pallets falling on your head.
Touch wood. Not anything like that yet.
Scariest moments, things like ordering from overseas and putting in a particularly large order, the first one that you've ever done, and then waiting for that container to turn up, and hopefully it's all still in there type thing. Things like
big
that.
Financial outlay,
big financial outlays. Because you know, we got to a point where we felt like it would help us progress the business, if we started ordering larger volumes and things like that. So making that step from ordering, small amounts to larger amounts, and we ordered from a different supplier entirely. So we had to just hope that everything came back in. We did our research obviously ahead of time, but you never quite know what you're going to get until it turns up at the door. I think that's probably one of the scariest ones.
Yeah, I probably agree. Yeah.
Okay, good. Fiona's asking a question a little bit like the one I asked earlier on. What would be the one thing you would change if you could go back to the beginning of your business?
Do you know what? For me, I actually think I think for me, probably would have brought in staff earlier.
Okay, yeah, I would agree with that.
If we'd done it all again and we could afford it at the time, I think to bring in staff earlier. I
hear that a lot, actually.
Yeah.
But I guess there's
100%.
that risk, isn't there, that you don't necessarily want to jump in and take on staff if you're not sure what the next 6 months to 12 months looks like.
I think it's the problem for us is because obviously, we're both quite young. It's not something that we'd ever done before. We'd never employed people before. And I think it is a big commitment knowing that those people who you are bringing on to be part of the business have their own financial commitments, their own lives, their own families.
That's actually one of the other scariest points now I think about was hiring the first employee as well. Because they trust you for everything after that, all their wage and everything. And so you've got to be in a point in the business where you can afford to keep that employee in. Their mortgage and everything depends on you. So I personally felt that was a very scary moment because I felt the business was there, but you'd never know what's going to happen in 6 to 12 months or anything like that. And, even if you feel financially ready for it, it's still a big commitment to allow someone else to trust you with their, their finances and things like that. So,
and also with the ups and downs with cash flow, like if it's a supply, you could maybe negotiate, can I just pay you in 2 weeks? But you have to have the money in the bank on that day when payroll's coming out, or you've got a big problem on your hands.
You do.
And when it's yourself, you can say, it's all right, I won't take my salary out for this month or take out my...
We definitely did that back in the day as well. Before we hired anyone, we definitely did that where we said, we'll just wait another week because we're okay. We'll get some more stock in because we need that. When cash flow was a little bit tighter at the start. But then when you bring on an employee, you've got to have the money in there for them. That's the main thing.
Yeah, or the backup plan if it's not
a backup plan. Yeah.
Good. Right. Let's go right back to the beginning and see. So, Andy, I have seen your question. It's not really a question for Tom or Josh, so maybe we can find another way of answering that one for you. Shazad's saying he had applied for the business award last week.
Oh, awesome. Good luck.
Excellent. Good luck. Hope it all goes well.
Yeah.
Sewing Machine Man saying manufactured in the UK, so supporting UK businesses.
Yeah, I would say about 90-something% of our stock is.
That's really good to hear.
Yeah, we'd like to do our best.
Fantastic. Fiona's saying overseas importing. Yes, that's where I am right now. Scared about losing my hard-earned cash flow, but now I know I need to make that leap of faith. Thanks, guys.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, it's one of those things. It's like you say, it's a big moment, but and a moment that's still, in the scheme of things, relatively recent for us.
Yeah.
And we just say, like you say, it's one of those things. You've got to go for it. And just obviously make sure that you're using sort of trusted sites, trusted suppliers and things like that. But
so we've got a few minutes left. Very good timing. Another question has come in. Was there any notable mentorship on the way that's helped the business, be it formal or informal?
Not really. Obviously, my dad's run his company now, which is not the same industry. It's removals and storage. He's run that since I was born, basically. So we had some tips and tricks along the way from him, but nothing that's really solid. It's more little things, like I say about rates, things like that. I say, you'll have to pay rates and they'll probably be around about this much. Go look on this website, you'll find the rates. But some things that you could just do with a few Google searches, really. There's
nothing you can't learn on the internet nowadays.
Yeah, and that's how we've done everything.
Massively underestimated.
But you have to take some of it with a pinch of salt.
Of course you do.
You've got to look at your resources and where are they getting that information from? Because there's a lot of creative business advice out there, shall we say?
There is. But like you say, there's lots of sort of videos. There's lots of, like you say, forums. Be a little bit careful with. Like you say, you've got to trust your source to some degree. But even sort of government websites and things, there's a lot of sort of help out there. What you don't, neither of us studied business at college or went and did a business degree or went and, it's not something where we'd come, as seasoned entrepreneurs and then gone, right, well, we already know this and we've done it elsewhere, so we're just going to replicate it here. You can absolutely learn it on the job. 100%.
So we learn everything with paying VAT, corporation tax, everything like that. That is not something that we've ever done before. All of that was just learned on the job, just by using the government website and ringing them if we need to and speaking to them to get an understanding of it.
And what about learning to use eBay? You said that you'd sold a few things before, but when it comes to running it as a business, it's different. It's kind of upping your game a bit. So where did you go to learn a bit more, or was that all kind of on the job trial and error?
I think that was just on the job trial and error, really. I think we just tried things, and if they didn't work, we moved on. If they did work, we just kept tweaking them and pushing them as good as we could, really.
Yeah, it's weird because, like you say, at the minute now, we feel like we know the platform like the back of our hand, but weirdly, I can't seem to remember a time where I didn't know it that well, because it's just so second nature now, But like you say, we've never gone anywhere else to learn it. We've never, had anybody teach us. It's just one of those things, like you say, when you spend some time with it, you learn the ropes. And one thing I would say as well about eBay is I feel like it's really user friendly. I feel like the platform is great. I feel like it's really easy to navigate, and it's really easy to.
Obviously, I'm very pleased to hear this.
Yeah, and I feel like it's really easy to pick up, and it's not one of those things where you're going to be tearing your hair out trying to work out how to do it. I think generally it's quite quite user friendly. I've said that a few times in our conversations. I think it is.
So before we came on air, I was talking to Tom about kind of top tips for selling on eBay. Can you just tell me again some of the things that you were saying? Yeah,
so it was just about sort of all the little details of the listing. So making sure your images are as good as you can make them, making sure your descriptions are as informative and specific as it can. And then the item specifics as well on eBay, making sure that's all filled in as well as it can be. And all of those little things add up to create a better listing overall. That's something that we employ across our listings. We try and make sure that we give as much information on them and the images are as good as they can be. And across the board, that helps boost the listing. Well, we feel like anyway.
Yeah. And I think often people are looking for some kind of silver bullet to say, if I change this one thing on my listing, is my business going to transform overnight? But from what you're saying there, it's just everything. It's just
a combination of everything across the board.
Because first you've got to get found, and then when somebody's looking at your listing, they've got to like what they see. Like the photo's got to be right. You've got to have the keywords in it to help you find it. And the descriptions, you've got to be sure that it's actually the item that you think it is.
Yeah, we've done that before. We specifically changed some of our listing descriptions to make them more informative and a lot clearer to the buyers, because there was a little bit of confusion on one of them once about the size of one of the boxes. So we made it more descriptive, told them what the width was, the height, the depth of the box and everything like that, and just went maybe a little bit above and beyond to show people what exactly they were getting. And we felt like that helped a lot. Just in little changes like that, little things that we felt like the listing converted a little bit better, because maybe people understood what they were buying and it is what they wanted, rather than having some confusion and just going elsewhere because they weren't 100% sure that's what they wanted.
And I think if people have got any doubts, the easiest thing to do is just not buy, isn't it?
They might go and find another listing to just buy from instead. So that's what we
for things like as well, for if you feel like you've put your listings together and everything's in place and you've got a great picture and you're happy with the description and the item specifics, but you're not seeming to get any traffic, then obviously eBay has its own tools that you can utilize, by way of sort of promotions and sort of multi-buy options, that sometimes are a little bit more attractive to people. So you've just got to kind of try and get in the head of the buyer and think about, if it was you coming to this listing, what would you be looking for? What might turn you off? What might you really like to know before committing? Because every sort of £5 or £10 or £20 sale is still somebody's money that they've earned at the end of the day. So, they want to be sure before they commit to click and buy.
And I think these days people more and more are looking for a bargain, aren't they? So if you use some of those tools and features that show you what the full price is,
exactly,
and then, but if you buy 2 or you buy a pack of 10 or whatever, you're getting a special deal, like with multi-buy. Everyone likes to feel they've kind of got one up on the system and they've got a good deal. Because I would think with what you do, that maybe you do get a best offer from time to time, but the price is generally the price, isn't it?
That's it.
Boxes, cool. So I think we've covered most of the questions here. Oh, Shazad's just making a very good point about all that listing optimization you're talking about being very important when it comes to getting indexed on other search engines. Great. Right. I think we are just about on time. Thank you so much to everybody who took part. If we've read out your question, hello. If you sat there in silence, that's fine too. But hopefully we'll be doing another chat sometime soon. And thank you guys so much for joining us.
No worries. Thanks for having us.
I hope you've all enjoyed watching that and getting your can't even talk, getting your questions answered. All right, take care. Bye-bye.
Bye.